Hey, Nisandeh here and from Tenerife, and welcome to this very, very special webinar, online class, talk, conversation. You can be a fly on the wall and watching me and Roy having some exchange, talking about life by design, about success, about happiness, about what stops us from that. And if you never saw me before, if you never heard about me, my name is Nisandeh Neta. I've been in the last 22 years, I've been helping or empowering people or supporting people on their path to create more success, to create more happiness, to create more fulfilling life. Actually, my aim, my vision is to create a better world by empowering people to fulfill their greatest potential. And for the last quite a few decades, that's what I was doing basically in trainings and coachings and mentoring of people. And right now in a phase of my life, and we'll talk about it during the conversation because I'm going to share a little bit with that with Roy, about the 3 phases of my life so far and the 4th that is coming up. So I'm in before the 4th phase of my life when things are changing, and I want to just kind of dump all my knowledge, all my experience, all my expertise on you and whoever wants to hear that. And that's my role or my job in the next few months, to just download everything that I have in the best way possible for you to be able to consume it and take what you like, use it, try it out. If it works for you, take it. If it doesn't work for you, throw it out, try something else. So this is a little bit about me. And on the other side, actually, I'm right now in Tenerife, which is on the coast of Africa, in the Canary Island. And Roy is right now in Salzburg in Austria. So in Europe, we have 1 hour difference and quite a few thousands of kilometers. And Roy, if you can introduce yourself a little bit, tell people who they are if they don't know you, which I'm pretty sure they do. And then we're going to continue.
Absolutely. What I just want to share is that I'm right now a holistic medical doctor. I'm not in practice. I teach workshops all over the world. And holistic for me got a complete new meaning. It's not only about health, because that's how it started. I started as a doctor. I started to help people to become healthy, but I quickly discovered that it is not only about the body, it's also about mind. And then even if I go deeper, it's about the soul. Whatever you want to call soul, I would say it's the purpose of our life. Why are we here? So true holism is taking all these aspects into consideration. So that means body, mind, soul, spirit, whatever we can think of. So that's been my specialty. I've helped thousands and thousands of people heal from cancer, from AIDS, from many chronic diseases. And then I start to help people more preventively. So who want to stay healthy, who want to live longer, be happy. And then also because of my sports background, because I'm an 8-degree black belt martial artist, I also help a lot of people in sports, managers to be more successful, to get more out of life what they want. And I'm in a similar phase as Nisandeh now, because very soon I'm going to start a complete new project, and everything else I've done before has only been the preparation for what's coming next. And I can call Nisandeh my friend for life. We know each other, we've grown close to each other, but we also discover we are on parallel paths, and some of the things that we do are very similar. So for me, it's an honor to be in this phase where Nisandeh is kind of, finishing one phase, starting another phase. I'm in the same position to be sharing my knowledge together with him. So he's given me this opportunity to do what we're doing right now. And I'm very, very happy and I'm thrilled to be able to share what I've learned in my 63 years of existence that can possibly help you as well in your career, your health, your life, and your happiness.
Yeah, thanks for that. You're watching this, you're having a unique opportunity. I don't know if it will be as great as we think it is, or as it sounds in our head. But it's a unique opportunity. Like Roy said, we know each other for a long, long time. We've been friends for a long time. We've been going through similar paths and different paths, and every time our paths come together as friends, as professionals, working together. As I decided not so long ago that this is it for me, my new phase is going to be very, very different. It's going to have no connection to teaching or training or coaching or mentoring. I knew that I want to do the last thing, the last tour, the last download of my information, and I didn't want to do it alone. And I just called Roy and I says, this is where I am today, and I want you as my partner on that. And he immediately jumped in. So Roy, it's a pleasure and honor, of course, for me too. And I think it will be a pleasure and a privilege for everyone that is going to watch us, not just here on this call, on this talk, but also in live. It's very, very rare that we get together, and I think that's going to be fun. And Roy, you mentioned something. Sorry.
Yeah, what I'd like to add is just that the beauty of us two doing it together is that even though in general it seems like we're coming from the same place, but it's actually the differences in approach that might make for some people, that, maybe I have it in a certain way, Nisandeh in a different way, that difference might give you more perspectives than when it's only coming from one person. And that's what really I like to do this together with you, because it really gives me also the opportunity to actually go deeper in what you're doing. So I'm learning from you, and I might add some wisdom to what you're doing. So we are in the process of learning ourselves from our secrets of our experiences. So that's a great opportunity for anyone who's watching.
Absolutely. So we're actually taking you with us on a journey. So we are both on a journey, each one of our own journey. But we're going to take you, if you will be willing to, just walk with us for a while, see what you can learn, like Roy said. And Roy, I actually wanted to start it in a different way, but you said something in your introduction, which was actually I think it's a good starting point. You talked about that when you're looking at holistic today, it looks different for you, and you were mentioning the word life purpose. And I have my own definition and my own idea and my own concept of what a life purpose is, which when I got to that point, it changed my life totally. But before I'm going to share a little bit about my concept, I would love to hear from you. What is for you a life purpose? How do you see that as something which is not just a concept, but something that is practical for people to, when they get the point of that there is a life purpose, and maybe even figuring out what it is, how that can help them in living their life more by design?
Yes. I come from the medical side first, and then second, I come from a martial arts side. When we look at the way the body functions, how the brain functions, then one thing becomes very clear very quickly is that the body is created with a purpose in itself, and the purpose is that the body has to be challenged in a certain way. So the moment we get into a comfortable comfort zone, we're losing a lot of our abilities. So for me, the purpose of life is one part is self-discovery of what my potential really is, and to also feel of all the talents that are possible, which ones give me the most pleasure. And then what I discover in the years that I've been as a doctor is that what gives me most pleasure is actually not only helping myself and my family, but to see other people succeed. And if we just take the definition, what is now life purpose? Life purpose for me means finding out who you are, what moves you, what shakes, what inspires you, what makes your heart sing, and follow that path. And you will discover that path is just not one direction. It's not like we have one life purpose, but we can, just like what you're going through right now, Nisandeh, you're saying I'm starting the fourth phase of my life. Each phase has its own purpose. And even when you start the fourth phase, everything you've learned before, was good, because some of that experience will guide you in the next thing. And you will also discover in each phase, you look back at the previous phase, you will discover many things you believed in to be true. It's maybe just a phase in your life, and then you move on to the next phase. So for me, when I started as a doctor, my purpose was to be a good doctor. That's it. Before being a doctor, I was a martial artist. My purpose was to be the best martial artist I could become. Then after I was a doctor for a while, I had a new purpose. My purpose was to take my experience then and to teach other people so they would not get sick or they could heal themselves. And then my next purpose became to really empower people and help them get the highest potential out of themselves. So when we say the word purpose, sometimes people believe it's only one, but there are phases we go through, and often they're built upon each other.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I actually have something similar, but coming from a different place. I don't have the medical background. I don't have the sport background, of course. And I actually come from a culture. I grew up in Israel, and I come from a culture that is very left-brained. It's very sophisticated scientific, logistic, sorry, not logistic, logic thinking, and purpose is not something that we grew up with. You're born one day as a result of accident of nature, and you go away one day as a result of accident of nature. And what you do in between, so your job is to live, basically. And I lived this way for a long time. And although I had great goals and great visions for myself, at a very young age, I actually achieved them. And at one point, I realized, okay, I achieved everything I ever wanted. And now what? What's the point? Why shall I get up every morning from bed? And at a very young age, I became kind of like I had no more what to live for. And then I kind of stumbled on a book or an article. I can't even remember. It was many, many years ago. But it talked about purpose in life. It was the first time I heard this concept. I was 20-something, and it blew my mind at that time that maybe there is a purpose to my life. Maybe there is a reason, and maybe that's why I was born, and not because of accident of nature. And since then, that's what I'm longing for, to find that purpose and to just make sure that I follow it. And I kept on thinking that it's something out there that I need to find. And I think that many people are, willing to accept that there's a purpose for their life, but they're looking out there for something. And it took me quite a few years and quite a lot of inner work to come up with a very similar conclusion that you'd made, is that my purpose actually is to fulfill my greatest potential. And you're saying that your potential is changing with the phases in your life, and I would agree that we have a potential in different areas. So we have the physical potential, so how fast can I run, and how long can I hold my breath underwater, or how healthy can I be? There is a potential professionally, financially, in relationship, in happiness, in anything. And maybe in different stages of our lives, we have focus on a different part of that, or a different part of the mix. For me, there is something which is the greatest potential. This is where we are born to, and then where we're going for. And that's interesting for me to see that although I went through different phases in my life, I can see some kind of a thread that is leading them, that every phase was leading me towards that. And you were mentioning something similar to that. And I think that, yes, part of it is built on that, and part of it is what we need to destroy in order to come to the next day, because it just gave us the legs up, and now we need to destroy that in order to move on, because otherwise we'll stay stuck in that. And that's for me where I'm right now. I got to such a success and to a point that I never dreamed that it was possible, from professional level, from financial level, from influence level, from every other level that I can think of. And it was very comfortable to just say, okay, now I have arrived. I have arrived, and now now I just need to enjoy that. And I realized that there is that the path of my life, if you want, has a sign in front of it, and with the destination. I never saw the destination before. And it's just came now very, very clear that the destination for my life is further. Simply further. So it doesn't really matter it's for me. It might not be for you, or it might not be for anyone that is listening. But for me right now, I realized that this is what was leading me all my life. It's further. It's further. There's nowhere. I mean, it's good to rest for a moment, to just say, hey, I arrived at the station, let's take a breather, but then it's not there yet. We're not there yet. So
yeah, absolutely. I can see absolutely what you're saying. And for me, also what happened just now is very similar in a way. My wife and I create a lifestyle where we say, if nothing changed for the next 50 years, we're completely happy. We are just enjoying life as it is. I've never had a more easier, more fulfilling life than I'm having right now. And in that same moment, all of a sudden, I meet someone and he shows me that there's even much more possible. And I thought I was dreaming big, but this, I call him my mentor now, is showing me that I'm not dreaming big at all, that I could fulfill even more of what I want. And what's very important for everyone listening, this is not about money. Money, it's totally not relevant, at least not for me in this phase of my life. And of course, that's not for everybody the same, because that's another phase you might go through. But when you reach that point where you think, now I'm complete, and that's so beautiful what you just said, there's always further. And I truly believe that the universe comes to show, hey, you think you're ready now? let's now let you see there's more, and there's a further part. And at the same time, for me, this is scary in one sense, because what this further means for me is starting something that's completely opposite, completely different from anything I've done before. And so when that's fear is there, for me, fear is not something that stops me. Fear is something that motivates me. Fear is something, actually, most people won't believe, it gives me power. Because if I feel that sensation of fear, I can transform it into excitement to say, okay, I know I'm scared, but that's not going to stop me. And that's really where I am right now. Scared in a way, but very excited for what's coming next. And the next is unknown. It is, I've not been there before. It is totally out of my comfort zone. And I love what you just said. It's further. It is beyond that what we can see. And for me, that really, I would say, warms my heart to hear that from you as well, Nisandeh. Yeah.
And now comes a contradiction, or a paradox, or maybe not, I don't know. But all my life, I believe that I'm creating my life. I create my own reality. I live my life by design. I mentioned very quickly the three phases that I had so far and the next phase. But now something is changing because of that. And I love your point of view of that. On that is, well, when I was very young, since my teens, I really wanted to start my own business, and my parents are employees. I never grew up with any kind of entrepreneurial background or anything, but I really wanted that. I saw that in movies, and I saw all those successful people, and I wanted that. And today I will call it intention and setting goals and having a vision. At that time, I was not aware of all those terms, but I can still remember the nights that I would or the days that I would daydream about me having that company and being successful and being a millionaire, and in that area. And I wanted, like you wanted to be the best martial artist or the best doctor, I wanted to be the best in that. And it happened. And when I was 23, I was very successful. I had my own company already for 5 years since I was 18. I was at that time I became a millionaire, self-made millionaire for the first time, and everything was great until that moment that I actually watched myself while I was shaving, watched myself in the mirror and saying, so what? And that was the moment that the process actually started, and then that's when life purpose started creeping into my life. But until the age of 25, that was that part, and I felt that something that I do, I'm actually creating it this way or another. By putting an intention, by setting the goals, by dreaming loud about those dreams, and it all worked. So it's me that created that, and then everything fell apart, which is it's one of those things that I discovered, that the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is making sure that when you're too comfortable in what you're doing, the universe is reminding you that there is further to go. So this way or another, and again, I can say that it's an external, something that happened from the outside, but my company fell apart. I went bankrupt, lost all my money, lost everything that I had to close the company with 25 people in it, got into debts, which almost $1 million at that time. I was 25 years old. And on the other hand, I can also see what I did there in order to make it happen. So there was some part of me that participated, made sure that I would destroy what I created in order to start something new, which was my new path in Holland, which started with the training company, which was me and me alone, and slowly grew up. And again, when at the beginning I couldn't imagine myself where I was just last year or 2 years ago, but there was always this further. So if I can do a workshop for 6 people, can I do for 40 people? Can I do 200? Can I do 1,000? It wasn't from the beginning 1,000. I needed to get to the 200 to say, hey, what's further than that? It wasn't from nothing to this. But everything worked, and it took years and years and years. Actually, it took over 20 years to get there. So it was an overnight success within 20 years. But that was a phase in my life that was all about empowering people, all about giving what I have to other people. Every thought that I had, every experience that I had in my life was it's like having some kind of voice in my head saying, okay, how can I teach that? Many of us are seeing this beautiful sunset, and we are alone. So remember, before the days of smartphones, we would say, how can I describe that to my friends, right? There was this sentence that a part of us is not participating in the experience. We're actually describing it. For me, it was, how can I teach that? And I did it for 20 years, and at one point it was over, it was enough, and it was complete, and I felt that it's time to move on. And it took me again a few years to get to that, but now I'm here right now in Paradise Island, living with my wife, the life like you described, the life of our dreams. We don't have to ever work again. So financials are not an issue. Actually, I discovered that money is not an issue when you get to this situation. You need a lot less. It's amazing. I needed, when I was living in Holland and in the race and going for it, I needed a lot more money than I need to live in paradise and having the life of my dream. So that was also a realization. But now that's what we're doing. And there's this uneasiness that started bubbling in the last year that's saying there is something further. And I'm ready for this fourth phase. And that was a very long introduction to actually saying that for me, every phase was somehow designed. And it was designed very consciously. Both my wife, Vered, and me, we're very good manifestators. So we are putting intention very strongly. We're setting goals. We're seeing future for long term. And not that everything is happening according to plan, but it happening according to intention and according to the direction we want to go. But then we're talking about, the universe comes and show you that you know nothing, or there's so much more to get. And it suddenly doesn't feel so much that life is just by design by me or by us, but there's some kind of a cooperation, a co-creation, or maybe there's something that is calling us, and then we're just saying, all right, now I heard you, and now we're moving there. So what's your thoughts about that?
It's so interesting that you bring this up. First, I want to say that living the life of my dreams, and especially with my wife and or daughter, also created a restlessness at one side. So the first 2 years was great, was wonderful, and then I started brooding process. What's next? And it took a while before I figured out. But going back to where you see as a paradox, for me it's the opposite. Is that every time I design something, I ended up totally somewhere else. So let me give you a few ideas about it. So when I decided to become a doctor, my goal was to become a surgeon. So that was my conscious design. I wanted to become a surgeon, and I was good with the knife. I was in my third year already much farther than 6 year students and some doctors, because that's the only focus I had. And every vacation, every holiday, I would go back to my island, and I get there to work with surgeons. So at the moment I inscribe in the clinic to become a surgeon, I get a car accident. My neck is broken, and I cannot be a surgeon anymore. I was devastated. And then I became a general physician, which in medicine, for me, with all the respect in my heart, is bottom feeder. A surgeon is like the orca whale. And now I'm a shrimp on the bottom of the ocean. And what happens next is, because of the accident, I still had problems in my neck. And my physical therapist sent me to an acupuncturist. And the acupuncturist was the only person who could help me. And that's why I decided to become an acupuncturist. It was not by design, it was not intended. So now I'm an acupuncturist, very good in my work. And I became one of the most successful acupuncturists in Holland. My first year, I already made over 1.5 million, which I was totally not intending to. It just happened. And then I was what I said. The taxes came and they took most of the money, and then I decided to go back to Curacao and Aruba. But after a few years, I was totally burnt out because of my success, and I just didn't know what to do. The only thing I decided was I had enough money. I had to became a millionaire. I decided to move to America and just see what would happen. So where you have conscious designs, I much more like sometimes a feather taken by the wind and then pushed in directions that I didn't want to go. So I go to America, and there my knowledge was discovered, and I become one of the most known holistic trainers and teachers in America. I visited all 50 states, teaching to thousands of doctors. I started a company making remedies, became super successful. It still exists today.
It's making $50 million a year. Company I started. I sold my shares too quickly, but anyway, I still get some benefits. So if I look back at my life, it's the opposite from your life. So what happened to me also when I met Joy is that then I started to communicate with whatever that unknown factor is. And we decided 6 years ago we're only going to follow the direction of up there. We're going to give up any desire, any need, any goal, and follow that guidance. So some people may call it spiritual, some people may call it crazy. I don't care. But that's how my life has been directed. So I truly believe there is a bigger, I would call it plan, design, consciousness, and we in between when we get too focused on our own ideas and plans, we might get disconnected from that, and sometimes there will be a coincidence, an intervention, and you're going to be moved back into that direction. But the universe, in my belief, is always whispering, is always giving you advice. The question is, are you listening or not? And some of us are slow learners, takes a lot of time for us to discover it, but it's never good or bad. Every experience that you go through is worth it. And the only questions that you need to ask yourself, does this experience make me a better person? Or does it make me more frustrated, more angry, more struggling? If we can, let's put our goal into becoming a better version, which is actually the same thing you said about getting more out of your potential. That's my guiding principles now. And I don't care anymore about goals. Yes, we have goals. If we start something, we want to do that. That's I call it the human mind, but that's much more less important. And where I'm going next is totally guided. Something I don't want, something that I don't even know if I can do, but I'm called to do. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's and that calling creates this on one side the fear, and because we're humans and we always go back to, can I do this, am I good enough or not, which is a good phase to be, but you need to overcome that and just trust and move forward. So I totally agree with you that we can create consciously, but we can also allow ourselves to be guided on what we call a higher type of consciousness, and both of them are good, and there's no good or wrong. That's the one thing I've learned over the years.
Mm.
So does that answer your paradox?
Yeah, no, I want more to share it with everyone that is listening here, because this is, I think it's not just for me. I don't think it's just for us, for you. It's for, people are facing that in different times in their lives. I mean, we are trained to work for success and to achieve those goals. And we have also ideas of what success is. Definition of the dictionary is that achieving one goals. And I worked with this for many, many, many years in my life until I realized that it's not necessarily the best definition of success. And we still want to be successful, and we still want to consider ourselves successful. And I don't know if it's so much because of what success represents as much as we don't want to feel the opposite, which is the failure or the experience of failure. And today I'm in my in a place much more, and that's why what I want to share in the coming workshops that we're doing together is actually that living by design is not just about you setting a goal which is arbitrary, just, okay, that's what I want and that's what I go for and I ignore everything else. But the total opposite is, how do I actually find the path that I'm, what you're calling supposed to be yours, or to go, or something with the grand plan, and being able to walk it and to do pick up the phone every time that the universe is calling us. And this is something that I think that in the coming masterclass that we're going to give together, you're actually going to give. It's about synchronicity, right? That's when the universe is giving you a phone call and tells you, hey, a little bit to the right. Because I'm many years in my life, not anymore, I hope so much as in the past, but in the past, I would just go my way. And if the phone call would come and it didn't fit me, if it fit me, I would pick it up and go immediately there. But if it didn't fit what I thought is right, I would ignore it. And then the next phone call was a little bit more aggressive. And at one point it will go into a bankruptcy, or it will go into a illness or something like that. And I think that most people recognize that. So but I think that most people still want to experience and to enjoy success in their lives. And What's your point on that? What is success? What is needed for that?
Yeah.
What is success in the definition of the bigger picture, maybe?
What's interesting from the design of the body, what we discovered is that success is actually in our DNA. We are programmed for going to the next level. Because without that programming, nobody on this planet who is able would walk. Because if you look at the child that needs to learn to walk, if we would behave the same way like most adults would behave, 90% of people will never learn to walk because after falling down for 200 times, they will just give up. Do you understand? So in our DNA, there is a program for success. But this is one thing that through our beliefs and through our mindset, we can turn off. So actually, a lot of people have turned off the DNA. Into science that's called epigenetics, what is discovered there that there are parts in our DNA can be switched off or activated. So we are born to be successful, and successful means to what you actually beautifully described as going further than the comfort zone to keep stepping out of our comfort zone, whatever that is. We are born for that, but we can learn to switch it off. And so when we define success, it is not a goal. It is about our life. It is not about one aspect of our life. Most people get single focused. So, for example, we focus on money. And when we focus on money, we might sacrifice other things that are important for our well being, our health, our relationships, maybe our sleep, and so on and so on. And we become single focused on success. But the body is designed for success on many different levels at the same time. So we need to be successful in our relationships. What does that mean? It means that we have to go outside of our comfort zone in our relationship, learn to be vulnerable, learn to be authentic, learn to speak our truth. We need to become successful physically. It means that we always need to keep charging our bodies, challenging our body. If we stop, the body starts to deteriorate. We need to keep challenging our brains. If we don't challenge our brain, the brain starts to function less. So we are born to be successful by design, using your own words. And the funny thing is that as human beings, we can go on other directions by our education or desires and forget so much other aspects of success. For me, success means to be a person that speaks his truth, that really is involved as a parent, really involved as a partner, really involved as an employer, really involved in my own health, wealth, and all those things. And that's what I call success. When you don't have to be the best in all aspects, but you're going to be the best you can be in as many aspects as you can. That's what I would, for me, that's success.
That's actually so cool. The way that, first of all, this idea from epigenetics that our body is proven to success, and everybody understands that. I mean, as soon as you say that, it's of course very, very clear immediately. And but it's not about the goal. And for me, by the way, for those people that are now listening, that I'm going to take aside for a second, is Roy and I worked together before, and we were. Of course, we have lots of discussions, but we also had times on stage together, and we don't always agree with each other, which is always fun because Roy has his own opinion, and then I will come on stage after and says, "Well, I totally respect. I mean, absolutely the wisest man I ever known, but I have another opinion. I'm looking at it in a different way, and the other way around." And here, what's for me you're saying it's not about being the best of everyone, which this is what people consider success. It's, if I'm number one in this, or if I'm the best employee, or if I'm the best lover, or if I'm the best parent, then I'm successful. And I totally agree with you, that it's not about that. But even this being a best version of yourself, I think that it keeps on putting us in a certain place of comparison all the time, which sets us to fail many times. Because if I'm not yet the best version of myself, now if you're having the breath for that, and if say, okay, success is somewhere in the future, that's okay. I prefer to feel that success or to experience that success every moment of my life, exactly because of what you described, that this is how our body is designed for that. So for me, today, it wasn't like that before, but for the last 10 years or 12 years, I changed my definition of success, and then it changed from being the best or achieving the goal to just giving my 100%. I feel that exactly in those areas that you described, if I can feel that I'm giving my 100% in my relationships, as an employer, as an entrepreneur, as a teacher, as a father, doesn't matter. When I'm giving my 100% there, at that moment, I'm feeling successful. And that has nothing to do with the externals. It doesn't have to do with if somebody else is better than me, if somebody has a better idea than me. Even if I am today in the same, I can, it's funny, I can run faster today than I could run 10 years ago, so that's not a great example. But I guess that in 20 years, I will be able to run slower than I'm running today. But still, at that time, if I give my 100%, then that's my 100%. And then my body is actually fulfilling, the DNA is actually doing its job in a way. But that really totally relates to what you were talking about, involvement. And I don't hear so many people talking about it. And that was fantastic how you said, you need to be involved in here, and you need to be fully involved in this relationship and in this part of your life. And I use a different word, but it doesn't matter because I think we mean the same thing. I call it engagement. You need to be engaged in whatever it is that you're doing. When you're disengaged, then you become bored. I never experienced a moment of boredom in my life. Have you ever experienced boredom? But so many people are saying or thinking to themselves, I'm bored right now. What do you mean you're bored? You're actually disengaged, you're disconnected, you're checked out, and you're now watching life as a movie or on television. So you're watching what is happening instead of being part of it. And being part of it is not always nice, and it's not always this kind of happiness and smiling all the time. Sometimes it's horrendous, and sometimes somebody dies or lives or you get bankrupt. But the point is that when you're engaged, you're feeling alive, you're giving your 100%. And for me, that's a success in every moment. So that's, maybe that's just semantics. But this part of being engaged.
Just one thing on that. So what's good, your definition of success, totally agree. I have the same definition. So what's also important to define failure. For me, definition of failure is not giving you 100%.
Absolutely.
So if I give my 100%, if I'm there, then whatever happens, but I have the feeling I couldn't do anything better than that. So failure does not exist. The results may not be what I wanted, but I give my 100%. And also as a martial artist, I give my 100%, I'm a winner. That's what I teach my students. It is not about the prize I'm taking home. That's a bonus. I always coach my students. I want you to give everything you got, win or lose, I don't care. And what happened was, once we defined that, my team was one of the most successful teams in Holland and in Europe, because we are only guiding them on giving their 100% and not about the ego thing to bring home the prizes. So, and I just wanted to just define failures as well.
I absolutely agree. Totally agree. I think that for us it looks very obvious, and of course, kind of duh. But I think that for most people it's not, and this is really, really important that people will start at least, take this belief, because it's like what you said, the reason why we're turning off this part of the DNA, or the way that we're turning off this part of the DNA that is programmed to win or to success, is our belief systems. So when we're believing that, when we have a wrong or non-supportive belief, like that success is something out there instead of something in there that you can control totally, there's nobody that can force, that can not allow you to give your 100%. It's only in you. So when people really get that, then things start to change very, very fast. And then it's time to engage. And then for me, the living by design is all about engaging and being part of life and giving everything you have. And that's it. And the goals that we're putting is just markers for us to, hey, this is where I'm right now going to go. And if I get there or doesn't get there, it really doesn't important, because when I'm giving my 100%, I'm becoming the person I'm supposed to. That's what you call, I guess, the best version of yourself. I'm calling it fulfill your potential. Right? So it's we'll work on that in the next few months when we're working together to find the vocabulary that we both kind of.
Right.
I think that most people, or all people, I mean, I think that when we're born or we come into this life, we're all getting this huge pile of Lego blocks, you know, that some of them we like because they're beautiful and they look like great and cool, and some of them we don't like because they're boring or whatever. And some of them we don't understand. But the point about living by design is that the way I see that, and maybe it's just me, but the way I see it, most people just looking at this pile of Lego blocks, and they just treat it like kids. You know, they just take the first few that they see and they start building something without thought, without planning, without intention, without an idea. While a grown up, an adult thinking, will actually take a look and say, what is it that I want to achieve at the end, and then start looking and choosing for the Lego blocks. So if we'll take the Lego blocks into experiences in our life, most people just, you know, whatever experience come to their life, they react on that, which is one way to live our lives in. And another one is to take a look at what is the bigger picture and what is it that I'm supposed to do here, or life purpose, or be here, and then try to pick up the right pieces of the Lego, and also understanding that even the pieces that we don't like, they are serving something. There is a purpose. Imagine that all these 10,000 pieces of Lego that you have there, all of them needs to fit at the end. The nice one, the not nice one, and also those that we don't understand, because that's how I see life. You know, it's a bit of a funny way to look at that.
Anyway, I know you like Lego.
Well, not so much, but I think it's a metaphor that people understand. I like creating. Yeah. I do like creating.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
I think that we as human beings, I mean, I had a teacher that used to say, and I totally, if there is one sentence that's burned into my brain for long, long years, is that it says, fish swim, birds fly, humans create. That's what we have. That's our DNA, is to create stuff. There is no other, as much as we know, there's no other animal that is as creative as human being and has that free will. And I think that everything in our life is already existing. We didn't invent anything. We didn't add anything. We're taking Lego blocks from different places and we put them together to our creation, to what our life looks like. I mean, a painting like that, there was nothing created there. I mean, the paint and the canvas and the wood and everything was there, but somebody took the certain paint and put a certain amount of it and drew it in a certain way, and that's his or her unique creation. I think this is the life that what I would like to help people in the coming few months that we are going to work together with them, is to actually help them to create their masterpieces, what you call, living their better version of themselves, or best version of themselves, right. And bring that out to the world, because the world needs them this way, authentic, real.
And as you look at creation, if we look at how we evolve as humankind, we never stop. Okay, so we have wonderful phones, we have smartphones, but I can guarantee you 10 years from now, they're going to be much better. Our cars are getting better, the planes are getting better. We as human beings are constantly innovating, constantly creating. Actually, the difference between innovation and creation is that, for me at least, innovation is improving upon. Creation is just something that was not there yet, didn't exist. That's a quantum jump. So when we went from horse to cars, there was a kind of a quantum jump that we created right there. But we cannot not create. It's impossible not to create. So if you are stuck in life, it's because you're giving up on your power of creation. You just think this is it, there's nothing left. And one design that people have is that because they have work and they have the idea when they retire, then life truly is going to begin. They work towards that retirement and then discover, there's not much more to do. And in my profession as a doctor, is that people that are healthy and really good, when they retire, 60% of them within 5 years have disease. That's because they stop creating. That's the actual point. They're watching TV, they're hanging out on verandas. Nothing wrong with that, but the brains and the body is not challenged anymore. And physically, mentally, and emotionally, they start to deteriorate. 60% within 5-6 years. And that's going back to the creation and the DNA. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah. And that's, again, connecting to being engaged in life, because when you call it stop creating, but when you stop creating and you watch life goes by, then you're not a participant anymore. You're an observer. Yeah. And by the way, I mean, you're talking about from your experience of people getting diseases when they retire, but actually certain type of people, and it's the people that I at least work with, the ambitious people that have their ego invested or the image invested with their profession or their position in society and stuff like that. So, I mean, as much as I know, policemen, firefighters, politicians, CEOs, those people not just getting sick within a few years after retirement, they actually die. Those people that their whole image or the whole ego or the whole position in society was dependent on who they, on their profession or their position, when it's taken away from them or when they choose to leave it, they die within a few years because there is no reason anymore for them. And that's part of, for me, of living by design, is that we actually do every time finding the further, what is further for me and what is for me to be involved and engaged in any moment of my life and in any situation. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can be paraplegic and cannot move anything, any limbs and any part of your body, and you can still be as Stephen Hawking, right? I mean, there is nothing that stops us from keep on creating, from keep on being engaged, except our belief system.
Absolutely. A great example is Steve Hawkins, the scientist in the wheelchair that he can only speak in a certain way to computers. This guy is a genius. And one of the things that I just want to add to what you're saying is that a lot of us become human doings. So we identify with the doing, and when we talk about engaging and challenging more of yourself, you actually have to become a being. You have to really be in that moment, be yourself, discover who you are. When we take the doing, a lot of people introduce themselves with their profession, because that profession gives them a kind of power, etiquette, whatever. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I'm this, I'm that. And that's one of the things I refuse to do. I can be in different situations and introduce me in different ways, depending on whatever is going on. And it doesn't matter because I have all these hats that we can wear. In the sports, I'm just a sportsman. I'm not the doctor. I'm just doing my thing there. And once we discover that it's about who you are, and that's where we get into the whole set of beliefs. What are the beliefs you hold about yourself? Because those beliefs can help you, they can empower you, or they can limit you. And I think that's a big part of what's going on when people stop doing what they believe they are, and then there's nothing else, and that's when they die. I totally agree with that, and I know that's to be true. So it's beautiful to hear that from your side.
All right, so let's try to wrap this up, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what we want to do together and invite you to join us. Yeah. Roy and me are going to work together for the next few months. We're going to have a masterclass together on the 28th of June, which is called Living by Design. And it's, as you noticed, we have different ideas about living by design. We have some ideas that I think will be very, very valuable for you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm going to do there in a moment, and let Roy say a little bit about what he's going to do there. The idea is to take a day and just explore what more can you expect from life. What I found out, and don't get offended if it's not you, then that's totally fine. And if it is you, then something to look at. But most people, I'm talking not you, Roy, I'm talking to you, to whoever is watching it. But what I found out is that people spend more time, actually, more effort, more energy on designing their next vacation for 2 weeks in the Caribbean or whatever it is, than they take in order to design their life, to say, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be at the end? It's not even where I want to go. I think that I agree with you, Roy, a lot, is that life throws us what we need to experience. But I do like to set for myself a destination of where do I want to end. And it doesn't have to be end at the end of my life. It can be at the end of 10 years or 20 years, but not something next month, something which is bigger than that. And then start walking towards that direction. And then to be open and listening to the messages from the universe, to just pick up the phone whenever it calls. But most of us don't do that. Most people just don't do that. And there's lots of reasons, and we will talk about it during the Living by Design Masterclass, why we're actually doing that for ourselves. But what is more important for me is to show you how you can do that, which is not based on this setting fixed goals just because the neighbors are having the same goals, or that's what your parents are having the goals for you, or that's what the advertisement world is trying to make you believe that this is the right thing. But to find out what is right for you, what is it that your heart longing for? What is your heart singing for? If you could have that ideal life, what would it be? And we're working through your values. We're working through looking at your life at the end of your life. I like very much to take a look at my life from the point of this is my eulogy, like what would like people to say on my grave, if you want, because that's what happened at the end, what we can see at the end. So, but in my part, what we're going to cover a lot is what moves you, what really moves you, what's real for you, not what you've been told that is right, not what you've told yourself, not all those belief systems that most of them are actually not supporting you because they were never yours. Most of the beliefs, most of the things that we believe today are not yours. It's amazing. I mean, we say we believe in God, or we believe in reincarnation, or we believe in whatever it is. Those are the things we don't know. That's why we use the word believe. I mean, I never said, and I don't think you ever said, I believe in my left hand. We just don't say that, right? Because it's there and we know and we can feel it and experience that. But we need to say we believe for stuff that we don't know. And I think that when we don't know, we are very susceptible to get from other people what they think is good for us. So then we start taking on the beliefs of our parents and education and the church or religion and other people around us. And many times you will not agree to that until you will have to force yourself to look at what is real for you and what isn't. And it's pretty amazing. And just realize that you are manifesting your beliefs, whatever you believe. Okay, you are going to create it this way or another because the universe will give you an opportunity to experience. So maybe we choose the right ones, the ones that are really authentic for us. So this is my part kind of during this day, and we're going to talk about creating a life plan and how do you do that, and also how do you actually get yourself to do things. So how do you get yourself to implement things? Because many people have these ideas and intentions and goals, and they know what would be great for them in their lives, but they're sitting on their ass and doing nothing. And sometimes we need a little bit of tools and strategies for that. And I'm pretty good at that, so I can share that. And Roy, you have some cool stuff to share with them that day.
Yeah, I just want to add, and I think it's very important for people to note that what we're giving from our hearts. I mean, if you look at the price of this day, that's nothing. It's just 4 cups of coffee. That's totally irrelevant. So one of my greatest things I've discovered is that we have to learn to work with the hands that we dealt with. So when I was born, I was officially diagnosed with brain damage. And later on, now today, added to that would be attention deficit syndrome and a lot of other physical diseases. So that's also one of the reasons why I became a doctor. But right now, one of the biggest tools that I teach people is about how to program the brain, how to get it aligned with where you want to go. And often we want something really deeply and we're motivated, but still we hold ourselves back. So some of the things that I want to share today is how can you overcome this subconscious sabotage that most of us know from experience. And I would like to share some of my ideas with you. And I'm what I see myself doing there. I let Nisandeh do the structure of the day, and I will add golden nuggets. And then where I see a place where I can add something that really will truly change your life. If you follow that advice, I will teach you how to change your subconscious mind to be totally aligned with the purpose and goal that you're going for. That's my purpose for that day.
Fantastic. And I really like also, I mean, you didn't mention that, but you are going to talk also about synchronicity and how to increase that. And this is something that it's in my book, and it's something that I was teaching for many years, but in the last few years, I took a little bit of a distance about that, from that, because this is kind of, the universe is picking up the phone and calling you, and it didn't fit so much with the material that I was teaching. So I kind of let people experience that without actually sharing with them, first of all, the importance of synchronicity, but also how you can increase that, because actually we don't need to increase the synchronicity, we just need to increase our sensitivity so we can hear all that. So it will be fantastic to get that from you, and I'm actually eager to hear some new stuff.
Absolutely. The universe often doesn't pick up the phone. It sends you very subtle things, and you have to be aware of what that means. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Most people experience synchronicity, but they don't even know it because they don't catch it and they miss it. And I have a lot of funny stories to tell about as well. And one of the gifts I want to give people is also that how do you accelerate that to the point where you think of something and it's already happening instantly. And I think that would be a gift also for everyone. Absolutely.
It's fantastic. Guys, if you're watching it, this is an unbelievable opportunity. This is a one-time thing, you know, believe it or not, but it's the only time that I'm going to do that. It's the only time that Roy is going to do it. We're going to do it together. It's going to be a full day on the 28th of June. Actually, if you're buying a normal ticket for 22 euros, like Roy said, it's well, it's a little bit more than 4 cups of coffee. But where you live is good. That's what it costs. Anyway, it's a little bit more than that. But this is actually just to cover the room. So the day will be from 10 to 5, and then you're going to get us both sharing most of what I mentioned before. And then we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back after dinner break for those people that wants to stay for the VIP session. The VIP ticket costs 47 euros, and it gives you not just the extra session with us in the evening, which will go much more in depth into how do you do that, how the practicality part, how do you implement all this in your life. But also you're going to get Roy's best-selling book, Vitality, and my latest book, my latest book, The Enlightened Millionaire. So this is your gift. So those books together are costing more than the 47 euros already. But we just want to share everything that we can give you. Like Roy said, we want to come from our hearts and give. It's for both of us a chance to give, which if there's nobody to take it, then we just miss an opportunity. Now there's already 400 people registered for this, almost 400 people registered for this mastermind, so a master class. So make sure that you reserve your place very, very quickly. The link will be under this video, so you can click on that and just reserve either a normal ticket or a ticket for VIP. You can invite as many people as you want, as many friends. The more people that experience the same information, that have that same information, that can live their life more by design, the more support you get. That's something that we try to create in Open Source for many, many years, creating that community around us and community for you, so you can, so you won't feel that you're alone. Most people, when they even thinking of creating their life and living their life by design and going for fulfilling their potential and becoming the best version of themselves, and I'm now using all the metaphors from everything that we're both mentioned during this call, but it's a lonely path many times. It's a lonely path. I'm so grateful that I have Roy, I have you over the years as my sometimes mentor, sometimes guide, sometimes a fellow traveler, sometimes the other way around. But we've been together, and every time coming together, so it makes the journey a lot less lonely and a lot safer and a lot quicker in a way. And I wish that for everyone that is watching that, to have that too. And we can create that during that day. So you're very, very welcome and invited. Roy, thank you so much for this. I had fun discussing that. I have some new ideas also, some things to consider. I'm looking forward to actually in 2 weeks to be on stage together with you and continue for some other exciting things. I'll give you to say the last word, and then we'll say goodbye.
Right. Well, for all of us, all people watching, even in this conversation with Nisandeh, just exchanging ideas, I'm picking up stuff that I will use. And I call myself the eternal learner, the eternal student. Just a conversation may give you ideas, and I hope that we have given you those ideas too. But this is just the beginning. If you come on that day, your head will be just vibrating with a lot of practical things that you can apply right away, and your life will never be the same. I guarantee that personally. So thank you for watching, and thank you, Nisandeh, for years of friendship. And wherever we're going, it's going to be perfect just the way it is. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. And guys, have fun and live fully, be awesome. Don't forget to register to the 28th of June. If you can't join us in the 28th of June, we will have 2 big workshops. Roy and me, one in September and one in December. They will not be the 22 or 47 euros. They are really full-on workshops, but we'll let you know. We'll keep you informed. Until we meet each other, live fully, be awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.